Have you ever wondered why you suddenly wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. with no alarm, no noise, no reason? Most people dismiss it as insomnia or stress, but what if it's something more? What if these hours are not interruptions but invitations? What if waking up in the stillness of the night is actually a sign that a greater hand is trying to reach you? The silent hours are sacred. The early morning hours are not random. They carry deep spiritual significance where the soul is most sensitive. There is something profoundly unique about the hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. While most of the world sleeps, the earth seems to hold its breath. Streets are quiet, distractions are minimal, and the usual noise of life fades into stillness. These are not ordinary hours, they are sacred hours. This window of time has long been recognized as a moment when the spirit is most open, the heart most tender, and the mind most sensitive. If you find yourself waking up during these hours, it is not mere coincidence. It is often a sacred invitation to connect on a deeper level, to listen, and to realign your spirit with higher truth. In the silence of the night, when everything around you is still, the clutter of your daily life cannot compete for attention. This stillness is not empty, it is purposeful. It is in this quiet that the deepest whispers can be heard. During the day, your thoughts are flooded with responsibilities, worries, and noise. But in the sacred hours of the morning, your heart is uncluttered. It is a time when clarity can break through confusion, when peace can settle over anxiety, and when answers can emerge that were hidden in the business of daylight. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. often stirs questions. Why this time? Why now? Many believe it is a moment where the physical and spiritual overlap, where the veil is thinner, and where you are more open to receive impressions, insights, or even warnings. This is not to be feared, but to be embraced. It is as though you are being gently nudged awake, not by accident, but by appointment. The sacred hours are a meeting place, a private sanctuary designed for reflection, prayer, meditation, and surrender. It is in these hours that your spirit feels things your body cannot. The heaviness in your heart, the pull toward prayer, the sudden urge to think about decisions or directions in your life, these are not accidents. These sacred hours are designed to awaken you not only physically but spiritually. They remind you that beyond the routine of waking, working, and sleeping, there is a greater rhythm at work, one that is tuned to your growth, your healing, and your destiny. These hours also strip away the illusions of control. In the daylight, it is easy to convince yourself that you have everything managed, that business equals progress. But at 3 or 4 a.m., when the house is dark and the world is asleep, you are confronted with your truest self. There are no masks, no performances, no distractions. It is just you, your thoughts, and the stillness. And in that raw honesty, you are more open to hear the gentle nudges that point you back to your purpose. To understand the sacredness of this time is to stop resisting it. Many roll over in frustration, wishing for more sleep. But what if instead of fighting it, you leaned into it? What if you saw these early hours as an invitation to pause, to reflect, to listen? It is in these moments that revelations can be birthed, ideas can surface, and peace can replace turmoil. The very fact that you are awake when most are not is a sign that you are being called apart for something different. The silent hours are sacred because they remind you that you are not just a body living in the noise of the day. You are a soul with a purpose. And sometimes to awaken that purpose, you must be pulled away from the ordinary and into the extraordinary. The early hours of the morning are not random interruptions. They are sacred appointments, opportunities to quiet the noise and hear the whispers that could change the course of your life. So the next time you find yourself awake at 3 or 4 a.m., do not see it as restlessness. See it as a sacred summons. The silence around you is not emptiness, it is presence. It is a reminder that you are seen, you are guided, and you are called to listen. The silent hours are not wasted time. They are holy ground set apart for your spirit to awaken to what truly matters. A call to listen waking up at this time often signals that there is a message, a whisper, or a direction waiting to be heard. When you find yourself awake in the stillness of the early morning hours, it is easy to dismiss it as restlessness or stress. But what if it is more than that? What if your waking is not an accident, but an appointment? Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. is often not about your body, but about your spirit. It is a call to listen. It is a whisper that the noise of the day has drowned out, now breaking through in the silence of the night. There is a message waiting for you, one that can only be received when everything else has been stripped away. Listening is not the same as hearing. Hearing is passive. You hear sounds around you all day, but listening is intentional. Listening requires focus, openness, and humility. The reason these hours are so significant is because they demand that you pause and lean in. When the world is asleep, your spirit is awake, and that is when the whispers can finally be noticed. These whispers are often subtle, not shouts, because truth does not need to demand your attention. It waits for you to be still enough to notice it. The call to listen is a reminder that there are answers you've been searching for, direction you've been asking about, clarity you've been longing to find, and they are closer than you think. During the rush of the day, distractions cloud your vision. But in the quiet of the early morning, clarity can arrive like a gentle breeze. What you couldn't understand yesterday suddenly feels simple. The decision you've been wrestling with begins to feel lighter. The heaviness in your heart eases as peace settles in. This is the power of responding to the call to listen. Too often, people ignore this call. They roll over, check their phone, or push the feeling aside. But every time you do, you risk missing a moment that could shift your perspective or even your life. The call to listen is not about length. It is about openness. Even a few moments of stillness in those hours can create breakthrough. It is not about elaborate words or perfect rituals. It is about being available. Being awake when you should be asleep is often the simplest sign that you are being called to pay attention to something greater than yourself. Sometimes the message in these hours comes as a thought that repeats in your mind, something you cannot shake. Other times it comes as a memory, a face, a conviction, or even a sudden idea that feels too clear to ignore. The call to listen may stir you to pray, to reflect, or simply to sit in silence. The direction may not be immediate, but the very act of listening is powerful. It trains your spirit to be sensitive, to recognize guidance, and to trust in the unseen. It is also important to realize that listening is not only about receiving answers, it is about connection. To be called awake in the night is to be reminded that you are not alone, that your life is being guided, and that even in the silence there is presence. This is not about fear. It is about assurance. The call to listen reassures you that your journey matters, that your struggles are noticed, and that your next steps are not yours to figure out alone. When you honor these moments by listening, you begin to notice a shift in your daily life. You become more centered, more aware, more confident. The anxieties that felt overwhelming lose their power because you have connected to something deeper than your circumstances. You start to trust that guidance is always near, even if it only reveals itself one step at a time. So the next time you wake up in these hours, resist the urge to dismiss it. Do not see it as interruption, see it as invitation. It is not your body betraying you, it is your spirit being awakened. Sit in the stillness, open your heart, listen. For in that moment, there is a whisper, a message, a direction that could reshape everything. The call to listen is not random, it is sacred. And if you choose to answer it, you may find that what you've been searching for has been waiting for you all along in the quiet hours of the night, disruption or divine appointment. What feels like restless sleep may actually be a divine wake-up call to realign your focus. Most people treat waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. as nothing more than an inconvenience. They toss and turn, frustrated at the interruption, desperate to return to sleep. Yet what if those moments are not disruptions at all? What if they are divine appointments, sacred invitations meant to catch your attention, to pull you away from the noise of your routines and to awaken you to something greater? There are times when life disguises its most important lessons in the places we least expect, and what feels like lost sleep may actually be gained clarity. A disruption interrupts your plans, an appointment redirects them. Disruption leaves you annoyed, but an appointment gives purpose to the interruption. The key is perception. If you see waking up in the middle of the night as meaningless, you will roll over and miss the moment. But if you see it as a call, you lean into the silence, and in that space, you may hear the very whisper you have been waiting for. Restlessness at these hours often signals that something within you needs attention. It may be a worry you have pushed aside during the day, a decision you have avoided, or an inner prompting that has been drowned out by distractions. The divine uses these quiet hours to remind you that life is more than deadlines and duties. It is about direction. And sometimes the only way you can receive direction is if you are pulled out of your ordinary rhythm and forced into stillness. Think about it. During the day, your focus is scattered. The phone rings, messages come in, responsibilities pile up, and there is always noise competing for your attention. But between 3 and 5 a.m., the distractions are silenced. The world sleeps, and the atmosphere carries a weight of stillness. In that stillness, your spirit is more open. What felt like confusion in the daylight can suddenly feel clear at night. That's not coincidence. That is appointment. The divine wake-up call is rarely about punishing you or depriving you of rest. It is about realigning you. Sometimes you need to be gently shaken so you can refocus your heart, reset your perspective, and recenter your priorities. These wake-ups are reminders to ask yourself, what am I ignoring? What needs to change? Where is my attention drifting? The interruption becomes the mirror that forces you to look deeper. Many breakthroughs in life begin with what looks like a disruption. The job loss that feels devastating opens the door to a new career. The broken relationship that feels unbearable makes space for something healthier. And the restless nights that seem inconvenient often become the very moments that awaken your soul to truth. Disruptions are rarely comfortable, but they are almost always purposeful. It is also important to remember that divine appointments are not always dramatic. Sometimes they come as a sudden sense of peace that washes over you in the dark. Other times, it may be a phrase, an idea, or a memory that rises to the surface. What feels small at first can carry great meaning. The question is not whether the appointment will happen. The question is whether you will recognize it. If you see your restless hours as nothing but accidents, they will pass like any other night. But if you approach them as appointments, you will begin to anticipate them. You will keep a notebook by your bed, ready to capture impressions. You will use those moments for reflection, prayer, or meditation. Instead of frustration, you will feel expectancy. You will know that in the silence there is significance. So the next time your eyes open at 3 or 4 a.m., shift your perspective. Do not see it as lost sleep. See it as gained opportunity. Do not see it as disruption. See it as invitation. It is a wake-up call, not just for your body, but for your soul. It is a reminder that you are not forgotten, that you are being guided, and that even the smallest hours of the night can carry the greatest meaning. What looks like interruption may, in fact, be alignment, preparing you for the clarity and strength you need for the day ahead. What you call disruption, heaven may call appointment. And if you choose to lean into it, those restless hours may just become the most powerful part of your day. Awareness of your spirit between 3 and 5 a.m. Distractions are gone, making it the perfect moment for reflection, prayer, and clarity. There is a reason why so many people report waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. and feeling a heightened sense of awareness. At this time, the world is still. The noise of traffic conversation and daily activity is absent. Technology rests. Messages are not buzzing. And the demands of the day have not yet risen. In that deep silence, something profound happens. Your spirit awakens in a way it rarely can during the busy hours. It is in these sacred moments that you become aware of your inner life, the deeper layers of yourself that often go unnoticed when you are pulled in 100 directions. Awareness of your spirit is not about simply existing. It is about recognizing the life within you that is beyond your body and your thoughts. During the day, your awareness is often outward, focused on work, people, deadlines, and problems. But in the early morning hours, your awareness naturally shifts inward. Your body may still feel tired, but your spirit feels alert. It is as though something within you is waiting to be noticed, waiting to be heard. This is why the hours between 3 and 5 are so often associated with prayer and reflection. In the silence, you are able to separate yourself from the distractions that usually cloud your mind. Reflection becomes sharper. The thoughts that were hidden beneath layers of business rise to the surface. You begin to see your choices more clearly, to evaluate your path more honestly, and to understand your emotions more deeply. It is as though the fog that hangs over your life in the daytime begins to lift, and suddenly you can see with a clarity that surprises you. Prayer in these hours carries unique weight. It is not rushed, not forced, and not drowned out by competing noise. Instead, it flows naturally, as if your spirit has been waiting for this exact moment to connect. The words may not be long or eloquent, but they carry sincerity. You are not distracted by the noise of the world, so your focus sharpens. You feel present, you feel heard, and that awareness creates a peace that lingers even after the sun rises. Clarity is one of the greatest gifts of these hours. When you allow yourself to be fully aware of your spirit, decisions that once seemed impossible begin to feel lighter. Problems that consumed you yesterday no longer feel as overwhelming. In this state, you are reminded that your life is bigger than your current struggles. Awareness of your spirit helps you rise above the moment and see the bigger picture. It whispers reassurance that you are being guided, that you are not alone, and that your path has meaning even when it feels uncertain. Becoming aware of your spirit also helps you realign your priorities. The things that seemed urgent during the day may suddenly feel small in the stillness of the night, and the things you neglected like peace, gratitude, or faith come back into focus. It is a realignment, a reset, a reminder of what truly matters. This awareness not only refreshes you in the moment, but also shapes the way you move through your day. You carry with you a sense of grounding, of clarity, of balance that others may notice even if they cannot explain it. Too often, people treat these hours as interruptions. They try to silence them with entertainment, distractions, or attempts to fall back asleep. But those who recognize the significance of these moments know they are opportunities to reflect, to pray, to gain clarity, and to strengthen their spirit. The awareness that comes in these hours is not ordinary, it is sacred. So when you wake up at 3 or 4 in the morning, pay attention. Do not dismiss it as meaningless. Embrace the awareness. Sit in the silence. Reflect on your life. Speak words of prayer or gratitude. Open yourself to clarity. For in those hours, the distractions of the world fall away, and you are left with the truest version of yourself, a spirit ready to be awakened, guided, and strengthened. Between 3 and 5 a.m., the noise of life is gone, but in that silence, your spirit speaks louder than ever. If you choose to listen, you will find that those quiet hours may become the most powerful and transformative part of your day. Preparation for change, these wake-up moments often precede seasons of transition, preparing you for the next step in life. Waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. can feel puzzling at first. You wonder why your rest is interrupted, why your body stirs at such an unusual time, and why your thoughts feel unusually sharp in the quiet darkness. But more often than not, these moments are not about lost sleep, they are about preparation. They signal that you are on the verge of a transition, that something is shifting in your life, and you are being made ready for it. The still hours of the early morning are less about disturbance and more about training, shaping, and positioning you for the next chapter of your journey. Preparation for change rarely feels convenient. Most of the time, it feels disruptive. Just like an athlete cannot strengthen muscles without resistance, you cannot step into a new season of life without first being stretched, challenged, or awakened in unexpected ways. These moments of waking are part of that stretching. They pull you out of your comfort zone and invite you to pay attention. They remind you that growth does not happen when everything is smooth. It happens in the disruptions that signal something new is on its way. Often, the seasons of greatest change are preceded by restlessness. You may feel unsettled even if nothing outwardly is wrong. You may sense that something is shifting even if you cannot name it yet. That is because your spirit often knows before your mind does. These early morning wake-ups are like gentle nudges preparing you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the transitions ahead. They are reminders that your next step requires focus, awareness, and readiness. Preparation also means letting go of what no longer serves you. Waking at these hours can stir old memories, unresolved emotions, or habits that you need to release before you step into something new. Change always requires a shedding. Just as trees let go of their leaves in autumn to prepare for new growth in spring, you too must release the unnecessary weight before moving into the next phase of your life. These quiet wake-up calls are an invitation to reflect on what you must carry forward and what you must leave behind. Sometimes the preparation comes as clarity. You may wake with a sudden idea, a clear thought, or a decision that has been weighing on you. Other times it comes as a call to strengthen yourself through prayer, through discipline, or through reflection, so that when the door of opportunity opens, you will be ready to walk through it without hesitation. The preparation is not about rushing into change, but about aligning yourself so that when the change arrives, you are strong enough to embrace it. It is also important to see these moments as confirmation. You are not being awakened at random. You are being reminded that your life is not stagnant, that you are moving forward, and that every step, even the unseen ones, are leading you to a greater purpose. Preparation is often invisible. Seeds take root underground before they break the soil. A foundation is poured long before a building is seen. In the same way, these early hours remind you that the unseen work within you is as important as the visible progress others may notice later. Change is rarely comfortable, but preparation makes it meaningful. These wake-up moments are not meant to scare you, but to assure you that you are being radied. They whisper, pay attention. Something new is coming. Strengthen yourself, release the old, embrace the new. They remind you that you are not unprepared, you are not forgotten, and you are not alone. You are simply in training for what is next. So the next time you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., see it not as interruption, but as preparation. Pause. Reflect. Ask yourself what needs to shift. Recognize that you are standing on the edge of transition, and these moments are shaping you for the next step. Preparation for change is not about comfort. It is about readiness. And when you are ready, change is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. A reminder you're not alone. These hours remind you that even in your silence and uncertainty, a greater presence is with you. There is something profoundly humbling about waking up in the stillness of the night. The world around you is quiet, the streets are empty, and it almost feels as if time itself has slowed down. In that silence, it can be easy to feel alone, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. But these very hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are not meant to isolate you. They are designed to remind you of a deeper truth. You are not alone. Even in your quietest, most uncertain moments, a greater presence surrounds you, guiding you, comforting you, and assuring you that your life is seen and valued. Loneliness often creeps in when the world grows silent. The distractions of the day keep your mind occupied, but when night falls and you wake in the early hours, the silence can feel heavy. This is when doubts rise, fears grow louder, and questions about your future begin to echo in your thoughts. Yet it is also in this vulnerable place that presence becomes most real. You begin to sense that though no one else may be awake, something greater than you is awake with you. What feels like a lonely interruption is actually a reminder that you are watched over, that your life is not forgotten, and that your journey is accompanied. The reminder of presence is often subtle. It may come as a sudden calm that settles in your heart, even if your situation hasn't changed. It may come as tears you didn't expect, but that feel strangely healing. It may come as a thought or whisper in your spirit that reassures you, you are not abandoned. You are not walking this path alone. These signs are not loud or dramatic. They are gentle, steady, and deeply personal. And when you lean into them, you realize that the silence of the night is not emptiness, but sacred companionship. The presence that surrounds you in these hours also strengthens you. It reminds you that whatever you face, uncertainty, loss, disappointment, or fear, you are not carrying it by yourself. You may have felt overlooked during the day, but in the stillness of the night, you sense that your struggles are noticed. You may feel weak, but the reassurance of presence breathes courage into your spirit. You may not see the outcome yet, but you are reminded that you are held, guided, and equipped to move forward one step at a time. It is also important to realize that this presence is not just for comfort, it is for direction. When you are reminded that you are not alone, you are also reminded that you are not wandering aimlessly. There is guidance available to you, even in your confusion. The presence in those hours nudges you to trust, to release control, and to walk with confidence, knowing that a path is unfolding before you. The reassurance is not that life will always be easy, but that you will never have to face it alone. In fact, many people throughout history have found their greatest clarity and breakthroughs during these early hours precisely because they leaned into this presence. Instead of fearing the silence, they embraced it. Instead of running from the loneliness, they recognized it as invitation. And in that invitation, they discovered strength, direction, and peace that carried them through the storms of the day. So when you wake at 3 or 4 in the morning and the weight of uncertainty presses on you, remember this: you are not alone. The silence is not abandonment, it is assurance. The stillness is not emptiness, it is companionship. The wake-up is not a mistake, it is a reminder. You are seen, you are guided, and you are loved, even when you cannot feel it in the noise of the day. Let those hours remind you that presence is never absent. In your confusion, presence whispers clarity. In your fear, presence whispers courage. In your loneliness, presence whispers companionship. And when you walk into the day carrying that assurance, you realize that no matter what comes, you are never walking through it by yourself. These hours are not random interruptions. They are sacred reminders that even in your silence and uncertainty, a greater presence is with you. Always, when your eyes open in the quiet hours between 3 and 5 a.m., it is never just a coincidence. What may feel like a restless disruption is often a sacred appointment. It is a reminder that silence is not emptiness but an invitation. In those moments, your spirit is most awake, distractions fall away, and you are being prepared for something greater. These hours whisper truths the day often drowns out. They remind you that every disruption can be redirection, that awareness of your spirit unlocks clarity, that preparation is already happening for the change ahead, and that you are never walking this path alone. The stillness is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to strengthen you, guide you, and reassure you. So the next time you wake in these hours, do not dismiss it as accident. See it for what it is, a call to listen, a call to reflect, a call to rise. In the silence of the early morning, you are reminded that you are seen, you are guided, and you are being prepared for the next step of your journey. The truth is simple yet powerful. You are not alone. Even in your quietest, most uncertain hours, a greater presence is with you, and every wake-up call is shaping you for what is coming. Trust it, embrace it, and step forward with confidence, because these sacred hours are not a burden, they are a blessing,